And our partner at Deloitte Ghana, Your Latte, has expressed worry about the increased policy rate, saying it will not address the rising inflation rate, but rather shoot up the cost of borrowing. According to him, though the monetary policy rate historically has helped to manage inflation, the current economic situation proves otherwise. The Bank of Ghana on Wednesday, August the 17th, adjusted upwards the policy rate to 22%, a move to discourage spending and fight inflation. Joining me to discuss these headlines is Sanyade Okoli. She's the CEO at Alpha African Advisory. Good morning, madam. It's good to see you. Thank God it's Friday. Let's start here. Good. Thank you. Thanks for coming. We appreciate your very robust comment. Let's start in neighboring Ghana. What do you make of the comments from the financial advisor saying interest rate hike was not enough? 300 basis points, a little bit bigger than expected. What was your expectation?
I think the key thing for governments trying to fight inflation anywhere is to ask yourself, what's the actual root cause of this inflation? Because I must admit, I am somebody who's often questioned the use of just monetary policy, just the use of interest rates, because in some cases, if the so, for example, some developed markets, right, where you have high consumer credit, etc.,
yes,
etc.
US, UK.
Yes.
Yes.
So you increase the interest rate, it makes it more expensive for people to borrow, so they will spend less, etc., etc. That makes sense when the cause of your inflation is a demand push.
Factor.
Exactly. Yes. But in cases like Ghana and Nigeria, etc., a key cause of inflation for us today is imported inflation, in that we're heavily dependent on importation.
And we're less productive.
The price in foreign countries are going up. Then if you add to it the depreciation of our currencies, that has been driving inflation. So increasing your interest rate is not going to address that. And I think that's the case Mr. Latte was making.
How damaging is imported inflation? And was this a lesson to developing markets to produce more domestically and import less? Is this something that we can reverse? We've been at this for quite some time, I'm sure you know that.
As you know, a lot of our economies, we've been talking about import substitution for quite a while. But the truth is, for us to be more productive, there are three key things that we require. You need the infrastructure, you need the skills, and you need the capital. And so concerted effort needs to be made to work on all those three things to ensure that we can improve productivity. And it's not something that we can just do at the drop of a hat. But what COVID showed us, and also the Russia-Ukraine war, is that we can't afford to remain as dependent as we have been on other markets.
So when there's a currency depreciation like the fall in the naira, as you just said, the first thing the central bank, any central bank reaches for in his toolbox is interest rate, and just use it. So what do you think? Prioritizing the fall in the city should be the focus of the administration. Every central bank wants to focus on the state of the currency.
So, as you know, there's a reason why they use interest rates. So it's based on the premise that if the interest rate is higher, it makes it more attractive for foreign investors to come and invest in their own.
And buy your assets.
Yes, exactly. Invest in your instruments. But that works where there's a certain level of trust in the long-term outlook of your currency. Because if people think it is going to continue to depreciate, then they require a higher level of interest rate. And somewhere like Ghana, that's what they're suffering from, where they've been priced out of the Eurobond market, which is why they've had to go to the IMF, because the premium that foreign investors are looking for is just too high.
Yeah, I'm looking at Ghana's sovereign bond maturing in 2027 right now. It's about 29.24%. That's the yield. In fact, it's only the October 2030 Eurobond that is trading 14.91. All the rest are the top end of 20s.
But then inflation right now is about 31%.
31.7
yes.
In July.
Yeah, there you go.
It's in the water.
let's try and be positive.
Okay, let's stay positive. Okay, the Bank of Ghana says it plans to purchase foreign exchange from oil mining companies. It's also looking to purchase gold in local currency, all trying to stabilize things. So, do you think these are right measures right now? Would they help the city, save the city?
Well, obviously, they're looking as to how they're going to source FX to try and balance that supply-demand for dollar. The question is the extent to which some of these companies would be willing to sell their FX. Again, it goes back to the level of trust that they have in the long-term view of the city.
Very interesting. And again, so what about gold? If you buy gold in local currency, perhaps it's going to help you. I don't like that smile. You don't seem to be confident in what I just said.
If you are in the position of government, you will try and use all the tools you believe is available to you. So I think it's it's easy to criticize government, but if we put ourselves in the shoes of government, we'll understand that they really are just trying to explore all the avenues.
Walking a tightrope. Ghana has a high debt, depreciating currency, rating downgrades into the junk territory by Fitch, S&P, runaway inflation. How badly do they need this IMF loan? For how long would they need from Washington, and how much do you think they should go for?
So we've already spoken of the fact that they have been priced out of the Eurobond market. And I think we got a clear sense of how badly they needed it when, having maintained the position for quite a long time that they were not going to go to the IMF, when they did come out and say, actually, we have to go to the IMF. They need it, and there's a budget deficit. It needs to be financed. And if they can't get it from the Eurobond market, they have to look at more concessionary loans.
Interesting, the tightrope that Nana Akufo-Addo's administration working right now, because we had a similar issue with the tax now when we get back to Nigeria, in which the tax authorities, Ghana Revenue Authority, is complaining about folks not filing their tax. The businesses are shying away from voluntarily paying taxes because cost of operations, perceived corruption, sounds like a script out of Nigeria.
If I were a government now, especially, well, anywhere, developed market, developing market, etc., with what we've experienced with COVID in 2020, the war in 2022, and the far-reaching and complex implications it's had, I would put a premium on building and maintaining trust with the people. I think trust is a key currency that a lot of people have been taking for granted, because when your people trust you, they will work with you, and you need their cooperation right now. If they don't trust you, you have the situation that we've seen in so many different countries, for example, Sierra Leone last week, where people go onto the streets, because if they don't think that you're working for their good, and they're under such hardship, as Bob Marley said, a hungry man is an angry man, then they're going to come out. So trust.
Even if they don't come out, they're going to be rebellious inwardly.
Well, in terms of they're not going to pay tax. Exactly, they're not going to pay tax. And right now, we need cooperation between government and the people. So you think
there's a serious governance trust deficit in many African economies?
Absolutely. It's been the case for a while, but you could get away with it where, income was coming in, when you didn't have all the issues. But now we have the issue.
When all the money was flowing.
Now we have the issues we need it, because we need to shore up the revenues of many governments, and how are they going to do that? Part of that has to be through tax.
Give me an idea how to build that trust, or how to rebuild it, because trust, when it's broken down, it's like a fresh air. If it pops, you can't put it back, the genie in the bottle.
The people need to believe that the politicians and the governments actually care about them, that they are not just out there for themselves, but they can feel the pain of the people, they care about the pain of the people, and they're willing to do what is required to make their lives that little bit better.
Okay. The Kenyan folks are binging on travels, so that's where we're stopping. We're finishing off. Karibu. Okay, 25% year-on-year drop in spending on travel and entertainment allowances. Do you think the new president, whoever between Raila, who eventually wins, they go to court and all of that, will be able to rein that in?
I think, to be honest, in the first instance, we've got to remember that we're coming from a low base in that post-COVID, they were traveling less. So what it tells me is that they're traveling more again because we're out of, well, we're not out of COVID, but because we're traveling more.
Restrictions were relaxed.
Yes.
Okay, so we need to wait a little bit and see what the figures look like if they're just enjoying themselves or
whether it's needful travel.
If there's a need for travel.
Yeah.
Okay, let's leave it there for today. Thank you so much, Madam Sanyade Okoli. Thank you. It's good to see you as always.
Thank you.
And this is for RTGIF.
All right.
Thank you, madam.
You too.
I'll see you next time.